It is absolutely my mission to break systems and to break the barriers, especially the ones that were intentionally put in place for people that look like us.
Let's talk about it.
Because that's no secret.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's embedded in the history of this country and the history of the government and the policies, whether it's the Federal Highway Act, right, where they literally designed freeways to divide communities. No coincidence, it was in the Black area. So communities like 3rd Ward, 288, right? The west side of 288, the Museum District, that's historic 3rd Ward.
Wow.
I-10, dividing up 5th Ward, right? The bottom of I-10, which is now known as East River, that's 5th Ward, right? Like there was literally someone who understood the power of the pen, which I do as well, except I'm actually writing systems change and sustaining it by making sure it's in policies, because I can only be in the seat for so long. We only here on this earth for so long, right? To make sure that the decisions that I'm making are impacting people for years and generations and decades to come, just like the ones that were meant to separate us.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Welcome to another edition of the No Stingy Energy Podcast, where we talk, finances, wealth, entrepreneurship, health, all of the things, you know what I mean? But here's the deal. We got Krista in the building. Yeah. In the building, the CEO of the Houston Landbank. That's super, super dope. Man, I have a tremendous amount of questions for you. But here's the deal. My name is Byron, real estate investor out of Houston, Texas. Primarily focused on the wholesale space. Also do a little bit of creative finance, fix and flip, new construction, new to the build to rent space, and extremely, extremely excited about that. And but with that being said, Krista, do you mind giving the folks a quick introduction to who you are and all of the wonderfulness that they are getting ready to embark upon?
Sure. So I'm Krista Stoneham. I'm proud to serve in this role, but I've been in the industry for maybe about 15, almost 20 years now in different families of community and real estate development.
Okay.
First in architecture, I was in government and processes, fundraising, community engagement, and then shifted over to the land bank been here about 1.5 years now.
Wow. So the CEO. That's
president.
And president. Let me get it right. Let me get that right. So let's talk about this whole journey, right? Because I think journey matters. Because a lot of people, they'll see you and they'll say, okay, she's the CEO, great, right? But what was that journey like? Because you mentioned architecture. So did you do a lot of plans? Did you love that, or what was you ever with that?
Yeah, so I love the idea of having a vision and a concept in your mind and being able to see it on paper.
Yeah.
So I went to school for architecture at Prairie View. I have a bachelor's and master's in architecture and a second master's in community development.
Okay.
But I graduated when the market crashed in 2008. And that's when I really had to be a little bit more creative and innovative in terms of what I really wanted to do with my purpose and my passion.
Yeah. Gotcha. So in that process of graduating and finding jobs, was it lucrative at that time?
Oh, no. If anything.
So the struggle was real.
Yeah, because that's when the housing market crashed, right? And a lot of people were getting laid off. I graduated with my bachelor's in 2008, and then my first master's was 2010.
Right when the housing crashed?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's when I really had to shift.
Gotcha. So that sucks. So you didn't even get a chance.
It was a blessing, though. It worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. I didn't know it at the time. At the time, I was like, man, what am I about to do? And, I graduated at the top of my class. And
so you was like the overachiever. Yeah, like ready to get to it.
You can't tell me I wasn't going to be an architect.
Yeah. And got into the real world and hit brakes.
Well, that's when I decided to get the second master's, because I was like, well, let me make myself more marketable. Let me make myself stand out a little bit more, so I can make sure that when it's back, I'm ready.
So tell me this, was that being discussed in your industry at that time? Like, okay, the market has crashed, we're screwed. Like, what was the conversations like amongst your peers?
Well, they was getting laid off, and I'm not exactly sure where everyone is today. Did they end up getting back into the field or not? But I took it as an opportunity to really hone my skills of architecture, but transform it into more real estate development. But I didn't really know that's what a developer was, right? It wasn't really even talked about in that manner. It was almost like it was this imaginary figure of the architect, the contractor, and the developer. But don't even imagine yourself up there, right? You stay here, you draw your plans, you work with, your people down the hall, because we also had construction. But the development piece, I didn't really understand all the different pieces until I got into community development program, and they talk about finance, they talk about historic preservation and community planning. And I was like, oh, so you're telling me I can design the whole table and the pieces of the table at the same time?
Yeah, you was on your way.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we went from the architectural side to literally becoming the CEO of the Landbank, right? And you went from government, all of the things. And this is just, why is the Landbank so important to you now? And why do you believe, because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of people that listen to this, this podcast are entrepreneurs, developers, real estate investors. Why is your presence at the Landbank so important?
Yeah. So community development is comprised of 3 different pieces.
Okay.
There's actual physical projects, right? That's the actual real estate development piece. There's programs, right? Whether it's home buyer assistance or it's workforce development, there's some kind of mechanism in order to help people on maybe the social services side or economic side, but it's kind of hard to see. And then there's actual policies that help open doors and gateways, right? And I wanted to influence all 3 at the same time.
Nice.
Some people just want one or the other, and that's fine, but I believe in comprehensive, holistic quality of life.
Yeah.
And to be at the Landbank, which is both governmental and a nonprofit, I'm really in my sweet spot of helping to connect the people on the ground with the government, helping to the people who are actually doing the construction, and really also building the pathway, which is the policy, in order to open up the doors for how they all connect to each other, because it is all interconnected.
What I love about your spirit, just in general, is you're not just, this is not just a job for you.
I know.
I don't get that vibe. I get I'm passionate about this.
I chose this life.
You chose this life.
And it chose me back.
Yeah. And it's like, for you to even be here doing a podcast, kind of continuing that mission, is just super dope. So I just want to commend you for that. You know what I mean? So tell me this though. Okay, so I know that you guys have a lot of different programs for developers, and you're very intentional about reaching out, connecting banks with local developers, also going back into some of these gentrifying areas, right? And creating opportunities not only for homeowners, but also for developers. How is that marriage working, or what kind of challenges are you facing making all of those connections?
It is absolutely my mission to break systems and to break the barriers, especially the ones that were intentionally put in place for people that look like us.
Let's talk about it.
Because that's no secret.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
It's embedded in the history of this country and the history of the government and the policies, whether it's the Federal Highway Act, right, where they literally designed freeways to divide communities. No coincidence, it was in the Black area. So communities like 3rd Ward, 288. Right, the west side of 288, the Museum District, that's historic 3rd Ward.
Wow.
I-10, dividing up Fifth Ward, right? The bottom of I-10, which is now known as East River, that's Fifth Ward, right? Like there was literally someone who understood the power of the pen, which I do as well, except I'm actually writing systems change and sustaining it by making sure it's in policies, because I can only be in the seat for so long. We only here on this earth for so long, right? To make sure that the decisions that I'm making are impacting people for years and generations and decades to come, just like the ones that were meant to separate us.
Wow. I didn't even know that. So what you're saying is these freeways, the way that they zoned all of this kind of stuff was intentionally set up to segregate.
Yeah, that's just one example, right? Then there's...
Wait a minute. Let's talk about it. Wait a minute. Yo.
That's just one. Then there's redlining, right? That's probably the one maybe that's more
popular,
well-known in terms of the banks and where loans were able to be given. And they designated, it started with the map. Let me step back.
Okay.
It started with the map.
Okay.
And they said this neighborhood is considered good. This one is considered hazardous. The good ones were the more prominent white areas, the hazardous ones, and declining ones were the Black and brown areas. They said you cannot invest loans in the hazardous or the declining areas.
Wow.
Right? So that literally changed the trajectory of people's lives as well, of where they were able to access loans to buy a home.
So a lot of these people weren't able to be homeowners.
Correct.
Had to rent. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to Jaquay, and he was telling me about a property he just picked up in Louisiana. And he was saying how the property value is really about $285.
Okay.
And when the appraisal came back, it was like $245. So you can only imagine, you know, that I know that this is an issue, right?
Yeah.
Especially in where we, primarily reside. What are we doing from a valuation standpoint? Or are you even in that space to even make a difference?
It's challenging for me to directly impact appraisals. And just my knowledge of the appraisal industry is to even be an appraiser, you have to apprentice under someone who is an appraiser. And I'm not going to speak on the data of specifics, but I believe the majority of appraisers don't look like us, right? And it's all subjective in terms of their opinion of what it's worth.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's, in my opinion, it really is modern day redlining, right? Of deciding this is a good neighborhood and this one is not.
Wow.
Because once again, it's just my knowledge.
Yeah.
Is sure you're looking at the comps or whatnot, but just some of the culture that we take pride in our neighborhood may not be considered good or thriving to other people. So it's all about an opinion.
Yeah. An opinion is literally dictating people's financial future when it comes to legacy wealth.
Yeah.
So real quick, I remember talking to you about banking land. And when I heard it, it was almost like a mind blown situation. I'm like, wait a minute. What did she say? Like, you can bank land?
Yes.
Can you break down, number one, what is land banking, and how does that benefit somebody like myself who is a property owner, or somebody like you that's listening to this that is a property owner that has property that they're looking to develop, but maybe not today?
Yeah.
Because, sometimes they could take a while. How does that process work in general? And then how is the Land Bank helping developers with that?
Sure. So we were, once again, a government nonprofit. We were created by the city of Houston about 23 years ago, when we were a program where the city used to bank properties to buy tax delinquent homes, mostly vacant properties though. And then they put them back on the market by selling them to builders and developers for $1 with the contingency that they produce affordable homes. So that instantly benefits them by putting things back on the tax market, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then they created us as a separate entity in 2018 for the same purpose, but they also expanded our mission to say that we don't have to just do affordable housing. We can do economic development. We can do food insecurity solutions. We can do flood resiliency. We can do green space.
Flood resiliency, what is it?
So if we wanted to, for example, deal with an area that historically has flooding, I'm going to say Cashmere Gardens, that's majority in the 100-year floodplain.
Yes.
We could potentially get some property, maybe turn it into a park and create a nice detention pond and a walking path and, you know, those type of things in order to mitigate flooding instead of just responding to disaster recovery. I believe in preparedness.
Absolutely.
Right. But back to your question, in terms of what we also are able to do, because we're also included in the state legislation. As of 2021, they said that we're able to bank properties for public, private, and nonprofit entities because we're tax exempt. So that means that we can hold property on the behalf of another entity, and or as long as it's mission aligned.
Gotcha. Asterisk.
And
we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that mission.
As long as it's mission aligned.
Yeah.
For up to 5 years, as the partner is, you know, working on their development plan or whatever, or they need assistance from us because we're also a professional service provider, right? And maybe we can do a joint venture, whatever that specific deal looks like, because there's so many ways to do deals, as you know. Basically, we can hold that property, steward it for you, cut the grass, and, you know, make sure things are up to par. And instead of you paying property taxes, you pay us a percentage in order to make sure that we are helping to facilitate development on the behalf of that partner.
So what does that look like in real life? Let's say I got a piece of land. I'm looking to develop on this land. What does that mission side of it look like? And then also, what do those percentages look like as well?
Well, I'll say that part has not been finalized yet. We haven't launched the program. We've been researching and talking to other land banks across the country because this isn't new. This is, I believe all land banks have this authority, but I don't want to misspeak. But we have been talking to some, like, for example, in Atlanta. They're one of the oldest land banks in the country.
Oh, wow.
So definitely have been listening and getting mentorship on best practices and some of the lessons learned. But some of the things that we're discussing is, for example, if it's something for housing, how much of the homes are affordable, right?
Gotcha.
And who are you targeting when you're saying affordable in terms of their income level, right? What's the community benefit? And allowing that developer or partner to tell us their story, and then we will evaluate how to balance that out.
Gotcha. And then from a percentage standpoint, I know that the land bank is tax exempt, right? So let's say I submit a piece of land. Am I paying taxes? Am I paying a percentage of those taxes? When you mentioned taking care of the land, right? From cutting the grass, different things of that nature. What role do I play? And then how would, I guess, the exit look like?
Yeah, so the way I'm imagining it is we would sit down to talk about what role do you want us to play, or do you potentially want to play? Are you just having us hold it as you're working on your financing and working with your architect to finalize the vision? You know, like, I don't believe it's going to be a blanket application, cookie cutter. I think each one is probably going to be. So it is room for negotiation
and partnership.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's even better because every situation is unique.
It is.
And so being able to have that flexibility. And so who would, let's say, for instance, if I were to submit a proposal to you guys, who would I be talking to kind of get that initiated?
I believe that would probably fall under our acquisitions and development director. His name is Don. You don't know it yet, but thanks, Don. Because we haven't launched
I think I met Don.
Yeah.
I met Don.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So all of that would be basically a conversation that you'd be having with Don, or email or something of that sort.
I'm assuming this is how it would go. Once again, we're still creating the framework.
I get it.
Disclaimer.
I'm not holding you to the fire.
We'll have an application with some kind of questions. Maybe you give us some supporting documentation, whether it's a site plan or something that further explains your story. We're going to review it, probably score it as a team. Everything has to go to our board for final approval. So there may be a phone call or interview somewhere in that process to make sure that everything is clear. We'll bring it to our board committee for review, and then go to board action for final contracts. And of course, you would have the opportunity to look at the contract before it goes there as well.
I love that. So in essence, and I'm just going to kind of summarize, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
So from an investor standpoint, what I'm hearing is that, let's say if I pick up a piece of land tomorrow, matter of fact, I have a piece of land and I don't know what I want to do with it yet. Like we got one right now. We got squatters on it.
Oh man.
I went down there the other day and they just brought like a massive amount of junk. So that's a problem, right? So if I'm in that situation, don't know exactly what I'm gonna do for it, got a good deal on the land, don't want to let it go. I would just submit that to you guys, right? As you guys bank the land, and in that process of us trying to figure out how we're going to get utilities to this piece of land, how we're going to do our feasibility studies, because I don't know if it's a lot that goes into that.
Yes, it is.
In that time frame, while I'm figuring that out, I could bank it with you guys, not pay taxes, not even pay to maintain the property.
Correct. Well, that may be included in the fees, right? Because we're going to make sure that we're a good neighbor and a good steward. So we're going to make sure that it's maintained. We have our team of vendors that go out and, of course, cut the grass, deal with illegal dumping, and report back to us if there's something that needs to be addressed, like an encampment or something like that. We deal with those things as well.
Wow. Okay. And so, yeah, we definitely going to probably be talking about this.
Yeah. We got to add it to our insurance now, right? So that's also something we have to calculate and incorporate as you're finalizing things.
Because our plan is to do some type of affordable housing not because we're good Samaritans, it's mainly because that's the market that it's in. I'm just keeping it real.
Oh, jeez. It's mission aligned.
It's mission aligned, because we don't have many other options,
Oh, jeez.
If it was in River Oaks, it'd be a different conversation.
Well, we probably wouldn't bank if it was in River Oaks.
That's true. That's true. So, okay. So I love that. So land banking is just one of the things that you guys are offering to the community.
There's a lot of tools in the toolbox.
A lot of tools. Let's talk tools. Yeah, let's pull out some more tools. So what other tools would you say that what are you excited about right now as being a new leader, right? And saying, I want to put my stamp on this specifically, and I want people to know that this was here because I came here. What are you excited about?
There's a few things, but
let's talk about
I'll choose one.
Okay.
And I would say that's environmental justice.
Okay.
We are the largest city in the United States with no zoning. And we are an oil and gas city. And there is a lot of contaminated land out here.
Oh, wow.
And usually there's not even testing required on the land, especially if it's a cash deal, right?
Yeah. That's true.
And not saying that people are intentionally building on contaminated land. Maybe there are some.
Yeah.
Asterisk. But
they don't know, won't hurt them type situations. I'm pretty sure.
But for real, there are cancer clusters here, right? You want to speak on that?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's dive deep.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you can do your own research and due diligence, but for sure there's one in 5th Ward. There's a Union Pacific Railroad company, and the community has been saying for years and decades that people have been dying of cancer right in the heart of the community. There's a lawsuit right now that the city and the county filed, I believe, last year against them. Yeah. The mayor just announced last week that they are looking into how do we potentially relocate the people in that area. Wow.
That bad.
Yeah. It's bad.
And so wait a minute. How does this even happen? Like, so is it because we don't have regulatory?
Because we don't have anything that stops a home being next door to a concrete batch plant. Right? There's one in Acres Home. There's one in, I think it's called South Acres, more of the south side.
Yeah.
Like literally, we're buying a piece of property that's next to one for that reason, to make sure the home doesn't get built.
So y'all are buying it to stop it from being built. So what are you guys going to do with it? Like,
to be honest, I'm not sure. I'm thinking, could it potentially be some kind of community purpose? That's one of the programs that we're looking into right now. Is not all property is appropriate for affordable homes, right? But there are some community-based organizations and leaders who want to take charge of their neighborhood, and they're coming to us on, hey, can we potentially use this land for whatnot and the other? So we're looking into that.
So, okay. So you guys are not only just doing affordable housing, but also environmental kind of stuff.
Definitely.
So, okay. So who, I guess I'm trying to understand why doesn't Houston have zoning? And like, is that because here's the deal. I had a property, no zoning, and I'm looking to build a duplex. Okay. Right in Fifth Ward. And instead of them telling me like that I couldn't build what I was building, they made me some suggestions as to what I should build, which even though it's not zoning, they were pretty much telling me in so many words that either I'm gonna have to deal with this dissertation of problems, or I just build what they want me to build. Right. So it's almost kind of like they made some strong suggestions, even though it's not zoning, they're pushing me into doing something that they feel would be more appropriate for what that area would call for.
So the way that the code, the piece that I'm aware of, because I used to work in the planning development department, is we can't tell you what you can or can't do, but we're going to say, if you're going to do this, you have to meet this rule and this rule and this rule. Or if you want to do this, then you have to meet this rule, and this rule. Is more so how it's written. So it's up to you in terms of what
your budget look like,
what the budget is, right? Or potentially if you need to submit a variance, right, which is asking for permission to go outside of some of the parameters as long as it's justifiable. And what is the highest and best use of your time and your money for the various options presented.
In so many words, I saw the dissertation and I made a pimp decision. I was like, you know what? Let me just do what they asking me to do. And we're gonna play by the rules and be nice. Wow. So, all right. I want to take it back real quick because I know that we got a lot more of these. I want to talk more about what you're excited about. I really do. But I want to go back real quick because I know that, you know, I see architecture even in your design, in your presentation. I see art.
This canvas.
I see this canvas. You know what I mean? And I know that you are a very artistically expressive person. Where did this come from? And how does this gel with your status and your position?
I mean, the position is a piece in terms of like, obviously my job, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to authentically be myself regardless of the role, right? The roles may change, but the goal has always been the same for me. Even back in architecture school, my dream was to design a whole community and the buildings and components within it. I didn't know that was what a developer was, though, right? And I said I want to make sure that I'm presenting myself to make sure that this authenticity is always me, 100% of the time, 100% of the way. Some people welcome it. Some people look at me a little side-eye, right? But ultimately, like, I know what I bring to the table. I know who I am when I leave the table, and it's still me, regardless of if I have this hat on, or if I'm in the garden, or if I'm playing with my dog. This is still Krista 100% of the time. Now, in terms of why I choose to present myself in a colorful manner, is because I am a colorful person.
You're a colorful person. I love it.
Right? Like the essence of me never changes. It's just the different sides.
So what inspires that?
So partially, I think of, especially some of the boxes that that some have tried to put me in, right?
Okay. Like, let's talk about these boxes. What kind of boxes are they throwing you in?
I'll just say there have been people who tried to give me advice.
Okay.
And I don't think that.
Like, so Krista,
well, just like, well, you know, you may want to, you know, not wear this or speak like that. I have a tattoo on my foot, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you may want to put some makeup on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know where these boxes came from to me, there's never been a box that was made for me. God made me exactly the way I am, and I'm going to continue to thrive and shine the way that I was meant to be. But I think that, some people just aren't as comfortable in being themselves, and they'll try to project that
onto you.
Yeah. But I more so see it as, I'm just going to show up as me. And if anything, I seek to inspire people to show up as yourself as well.
So what is that conversation like when they do come to you with their professional advice?
I think they know better now. I think they know better now.
They know better now.
But,
well, at least the people that you are around. But I'm pretty sure it's always that new person that just wants to come and just give you some good sound advice that they don't think you know.
Well, I think now people applaud it.
People applaud it.
Yeah, people applaud it because they see like, okay, she knows who she is. Especially when you hear me actually tell my story or what I'm seeking to achieve. Especially, like I said, I'm here to break barriers.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Yeah. And it's funny, I was talking to you before the interview, and you were talking about how for a long time, you said you didn't live your life as you felt like you were numb. Can you speak to that? Because I've heard a lot, especially a lot of women, can almost not be living in purpose because they're not even living in the moment. Like, can you break that? I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'll say that, yes, it was a journey, right? To the earlier point, it was a journey of finding me. Mm-hmm. Even just in the beginning, my first dream was to be a fashion designer. Wow. So I think that's also why it's like, look, I may not be drawing, but I'm going to bring these fashions. And I'm going to express myself.
Yeah. It's going to happen. You're going to get it.
Exactly. I may have blue hair one day. Don't sleep on me. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, but it took me time to really find my voice. Whether it was finding myself in the profession, this is a male-dominated field, right?
Even architecture is male-dominated.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dominated by white males, right? Yeah. On both sides, even real estate development as well. So it took me some time in order to find my voice by, I think, one, being kind of quiet with myself and talking to God about really seeking what is my purpose and what am I seeking to achieve, because it's never been the title. It's always been the mission. It's always been the service. It's always been, how do I really just show up and lead with empathy? That's really like my guiding light, is looking at the other person's perspective and how am I able to unlock a door for them? Because I'm thinking about legacy.
Absolutely. And so getting to that space where you are confident, because right now I see a confident, I see a strong, determined, and mission-minded person.
Yeah.
How did you get there from, let's say, I want to go back to the 18, fresh out of high school. Because I'm pretty sure, because you're CEO of the biggest land bank one of the biggest land banks in the country now.
Yeah.
I mean,
the biggest.
Okay.
Geographically.
Yeah. Let me get it right. The largest land bank. And how did you weren't this person fresh out of high school, were you?
It's funny. I was actually talking to my auntie about this the other day, and I was like, just celebrating this season right now of really renewal and reemergence.
Yes.
And just really feeling truly grounded and comfortable in who I am. And she was telling me about the day that I moved into college, because I'm originally from California.
Oh, okay.
Right. I literally moved here. I went to Prairie View and didn't even see the campus until I moved in. I was that ready to just go.
Wow.
And start a new journey and just let God lead me. I didn't know what I was going to major in. Had no idea. And
so you were no purpose then?
Well, I just knew that I was going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I wanted to go and explore and really just learn. How was I even going to know it was architecture or engineering without actually experiencing it? Meeting the people, seeing and touching and talking to people, right? So I just said I'm going to come open-minded, open-hearted, and God's going to lead me. It's funny. I was recommended for architecture. I was like, I'm not trying to do all that math. It just sounded like,
like math crazy. But then were you good with math?
Yes,
okay.
But I just didn't feel like I wanted to sit there like a calculator. Like that's what the mindset was of what I thought it was, but it really didn't dawn on me until like maybe 2 years after that when I saw the creativity of it and how you can really just create your own path of what a place is for somebody else. And once I saw that, and some of the math, and obviously being able to hold the walls up. But it was more the creativity that spoke to me the most. But literally my first day on campus, I had on a pink terry cloth.
Yo,
there's footage somewhere. I gotta find. I had black and red hair.
Oh wow!
It was a pink terry cloth 2-piece set of like shorts and like a little top and little.
So
crop
you was
top.
always.
I was like, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready to conquer the world.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But after that and like finding architecture, what I wanted to do, but then the market crashed, and then I was like really lost. Right? Because I was like, okay, what am I going to do with all these degrees and all this debt?
Yeah, the debt.
Okay, out of state fees ain't no joke.
Yeah.
But once I found out that public service, you're able to get your loans forgiven.
You're like, wait a minute.
I said, hold on, this may be the path for me.
It may be. Because these loans was piling up. So did they cover your...
Let me see. You need 10 years of service. This is my 10th year. Okay.
Wow. So you're going to find out.
Baby, at the end of this year, we're going to have a party. We're going to have a party to celebrate.
I love it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
That's super dope. That's a gem. So public service will cover
Yes. If you work for the government, now you have to pay consistently. There's 120 qualifying payments. And 10 years of service. It doesn't have to be consecutive. So whether it's the local, state, or federal government, I think it's also applicable for teachers and for nonprofits. But teachers who service a certain low to moderate income area, then you're able to get it forgiven. I knew I wasn't trying to go into teaching. I actually come from a family of teachers, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that.
Let somebody else deal with them kids.
Right? I was like, well, I actually feel like I found my practice in teaching, but in my own way. I don't see myself in the classroom, but just in terms of
teaching
like different,
adults.
like webinars and different stuff that I've done. And I want to help share these different lessons that I've learned, because what's the point of it dying with me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it. So are you going to be able to do some plans for me?
It's not really in my heart anymore to sit and draw it, but I can inspire it, and I can refer you to a whole group of friends.
It just ain't gonna be you doing it.
No.
Going back and forth with the city, calculating. Yeah. That ain't the vibe.
I don't think so. I'd rather tell the architects what to draw. So developer, that's
and look at it and be like, now you need to fix this and fix that.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now I'll look at the plan and be like, well, now why did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So did you ever do that?
I've never practiced in an architecture firm, but I did used to do conceptual designs on the side. When the market crashed, I said, well, I'm about to figure out something. Hustle. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I started doing conceptual designs for the city of Prairie View and the city of Hempstead.
Oh, okay.
And I actually made a job for myself at the city of Prairie View. I called myself, I think it was conceptual designer. I don't know. I made up a title.
You made up a title.
Whatever
like, this
that
is
title
gonna be me.
was, I had the cards made. And because it was a small city, they were just very much in support of my ambition and the dreams. And I started with grant writing and
all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So we met at a banking and Landbank partnership / mixer.
Yeah.
And why did you put on that event, and why do you think more developers need to be going to those events? Because I thought it was mind-blowing, me personally.
Oh, great.
But I want to know why you thought this was a great idea to put together.
Well, I'm not going to take 100% of the credit. It was in partnership with the Houston Housing Collaborative, who's led by Alan Watkins, who came from the baking industry before his current role. So we've been talking, and he was like, I want to do something with bankers and developers. And I was like, well, I want to do something with land and developers. Let's mesh the worlds, because obviously you need both, right? Absolutely. You need access to land and you need access to financing. And let's really break down these silos. Here we go, breaking walls again. Yeah. And try to get us all in the same room to talk about a solution. Of course, there's more people involved when it comes to the solutions, but I think that's really just my ultimate mindset, is how do we all sit at the same table when it comes to creating these solutions, because we have to anyways.
Facts.
Let's streamline it.
Absolutely.
So I see myself as a convener, as a collaborator, and really just seeking to streamline how we can really just be comprehensive and intentional about this.
No doubt. So I know that you guys were promoting your partnership with developers.
Yes.
Can you break down what that partnership looks like for a developer that is looking to build affordable housing? How does it benefit them? And then also, how does it benefit what you're trying to get accomplished?
Sure. So we historically have been selling our land to builders and developers to help us with our mission and our purpose, which was affordable housing. So what we do is we sell it below market to them, but you have to be procured. So we actually have a procurement open right now. That closes in mid-August.
So what is the procurement? What is that?
Okay, let me break that down.
Yeah,
speaking layman's terms.
Yeah.
So government, in terms of opportunities, have to be publicly posted and accessible.
Gotcha.
Right? No matter what type of government, whether it's the city, the county, federal, metro, all types of federal some kind of government money has to be open opportunity that is presented and people apply to. So that's basically what procurement means, is we're asking you to apply.
Gotcha. And then once you apply and you're accepted, then I can basically buy the properties below market.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I buy those properties below market, your expectation at that point is I'm going to build something to sell at an affordable price.
Yes.
And from a developer standpoint, why does it benefit the developer to sell at this affordable price? And then how does it benefit you all's mission when they do?
So hopefully our builders and developers believe in the mission in addition to the discounted land.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, but I can't make you be in alignment with your heart.
Gotcha.
But what we can do is do our best to at least make the numbers make sense, so it absolutely benefits the mission when it comes to the home buyer. So we have different categories of builders. One is the master builder, which is saying that if there's a larger acreage site, that you have the capacity and expertise to execute a mini subdivision in one way, shape, or form, right? Whether it's a larger acreage site. Then we have
like tiny homes or condos or
not condos, because it's not
townhomes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just saying that you have the expertise. If I have this 2 acres and I'm telling you this is the vision for what needs to take place here, that you're able to actually execute in a timely manner, with the quality of the home, right?
So let's talk timely manner and quality. What does timely look like?
Well, in our contracts, it says you need to initiate within 120 days of when the contract is closed. Now, we do our best to facilitate that process at the permitting center, since we were created by the city. We have
so y'all can push stuff through.
So we have a designated reviewer for our items that can help move it a little bit quicker than going through the traditional permitting system.
Nice. So y'all got like the VIP line. The VIP line straight to get it done. I love that.
Yeah, like back in the day at Grooves, you pay that $10.
VIP. All right. So y'all can streamline the city process, because that can be grueling and to anybody, because I hear that Houston is even back. I heard that they are like bringing in people from Dallas.
Wow.
To help, because they don't have enough staff, I guess, to get all of this stuff. But when I go down, there's a lot of people down there. I don't understand why they can't.
I can't speak on the specifics there.
Gotcha.
But we do our best.
Okay. All right. Amen.
And we're also also looking into, is there a way that we can potentially get the plans done, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're architects,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe get that master permitted to make your life easier to just do the construction.
Yeah.
So we're exploring other ways to break down the barriers and to help expedite timing. Because ultimately we're trying to get to the product of the homeowner and give them the keys so they can
Live in
begin
their
their
house.
path. Yeah.
So we get the product. I mean, we get the land at a discounted price.
Mm-hmm.
You guys will help us expedite the permitting process.
Mm-hmm.
And you said y'all also help with the planning too?
That is something that's new that we're doing right now.
Okay.
Because historically we kind of had scattered sites is what we call them in terms of, it's an empty lot, 2 homes, an empty lot, right?
Gotcha,
so it's scattered, it's not contiguous property.
Yeah.
And that's where we historically started, but we also have some opportunities that are a little bit larger that could be replatted. And we are looking into how can we master plan or lead the replat for it to also help expedite that process and you just build the homes.
Gotcha. Now, let's say I'm a builder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did talk to some of the builders there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were excited about it. Some of them were like, I don't know if I can afford the time investment, right? From an economic standpoint, why would the developer be like, yo, I'm definitely going to be getting this cheaper land, and I'm definitely going to be building this affordable housing, and I see the benefit not just from a charitable standpoint, but also from a financial standpoint. Where are the price points of these homes typically? And I guess how's the mathing typically?
So I'll say what it is now, but what we're also looking into, I can't speak to because we're literally looking at it again to make sure that we are not putting a hardship on our partners who are our builders and developers, right? But in the beginning of the program, it was $212,000 was the maximum sales price. That was the 3-bed, 2-bath. Last year we changed.
Square footage dependent?
No. I don't remember what it was. That was before I got there.
Okay.
Now, currently, the program guidelines have different tiers.
Okay.
We say that the maximum for a 3-bed, 2-bath is $225,000, and it does have a square footage range. The maximum for a 4-bed, 2-bath is $285,000. It also has a range and different components. And then we say if you're going to go less than 3-bed, then that's another range, but I can't remember that number off the top of my head right now.
Gotcha.
Now, what we're looking at now is another model in order to do a different calculation to make sure that we're not putting a hardship on the builder or developer on the price that we sell the land for versus what the home is being sold for.
Are you in the know as to how much, I guess, developers are paying per foot to build?
I believe estimates is I've seen maybe 160. I feel like the max I've seen is maybe 180. I believe
per foot. So if they're anywhere in that world, that's gonna be tight.
Yeah. That's why we're reevaluating.
Gotcha.
We know that the market has changed and just making sure that we're balancing out holistically.
Gotcha. And so that's what the builders are typically presenting to you guys is the 160 to 180.
Something like that, yeah.
Gotcha.
On the performance. Now, a part of the process is submitting the performance so we can see, right? And that's part of applying to be a builder and applying actually for the land that's up for sale.
Gotcha. So I sign up today. That's going to give me access to you guys as land. Do y'all have like a database that like a portal or something like that? And so I go in and be like, oh, I like this piece of land. And
well, it's more of us presenting which land is available for this particular round.
Gotcha. Y'all present the land, hands go up.
Yeah, we present the land to the list of people who we deemed eligible to be a part of it.
Okay.
Then they are able to say that they are interested in this one or that one. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then how are you guys making the choice as to who's going to actually get it? Because I'm pretty sure it's probably more developers than it is land opportunities, right? Or maybe not.
Well, there's a scoring matrix, right?
Okay.
Part of that is also being evaluated right now, just to make sure it's equitable. But I will say that, part of it is looking at the plans, the pro forma. But one thing that we did also add last year is involving the community as a part of that process too. Right? Neighborhood character is really important in terms of them welcoming this new development, this new neighbor, this new builder into their neighborhood. So being inclusive is definitely one of just my guiding principles of when I'm creating a development solutions, I involve the neighborhood in every level as much as I can.
I'm paying impact fees. Are you guys, how are the impact fees covered? Let's say, for instance, because I know we're building with more density. I think the last impact fee I paid was like $4,000 or something like that. This is in the Independence Heights area. Are you guys covering impact fees, or how does that even work?
Currently, we don't have that extra subsidy support yet. That is something that I'm also seeking to do, which is why I filed for us to be a 501c3.
Gotcha.
If there's a grant or a funder that can help us give more assistance to the builders to help them keep the price point low outside of just the land. So pre-development support, whether it's the plans or it's impact fees, like those are the types of things that we're looking and seeking to address.
Yeah, because, plans, you're looking at anywhere from, let's say, I don't know, 4,000 to 6,000. Then you're looking at impact fees that could be, then if you're in a flood zone, dirt samples, that's about another grand. If you have any flood mitigation, anything like that you have to do, that can be couple grand. So you're looking at least anywhere from, I would say, 10 to maybe 20 grand in pre-dev. Maybe even more after building permits. I'm just talking about the I'm not even talking about the building. So right now, the way you guys are set up, the builder covers that.
Correct.
Gotcha. And they're covering the cost of the build as well.
Correct.
And the benefit to working with you guys is essentially the land being cheaper. How much cheaper are we talking?
I've seen anywhere between maybe 50 to about 90% off market.
So really, from my understanding, you're building a house for free and the discount you're getting is on the land. That's your profit.
Well,
maybe.
Well, we're not in it for the profit.
No, I mean the developer.
Oh, the developer.
Yeah.
They get a smaller percentage in terms of maybe what market rate is, right? You may not get a 20% return, but I've seen some that maybe have like 8 or 9% return because most of our builders come from the areas that we're building in, right?
Gotcha.
And that's why I believe that most of them want to align with the mission. They have some kind of empathetic
attachment.
Connection,
yeah.
Right.
So it's more so, I'm building this over here anyways. Might as well build this as well, right? To service the community, and I guess because I can see that too, because I need to keep my workers working, that side of things, right? I'm just looking at it from a business.
No, I got it. And that's why I'm also seeking to get more dollars, right? I applied for a grant. I heard we got a yes. I don't know when I'm going to get the money yet, right? Because I appreciate the empathy, but I also understand people got to feed their families too.
Yeah.
So
babies don't like empathy.
Exactly. So that's why we're looking into, is the price point the right number, right? But is it also for the builder, but I also have to balance it for the homeowner, right? Because Absolutely. It's only for income eligible people. I don't want to build a home for something that they can't afford.
They can't afford. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, because I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about how the housing was bought at a cheaper price. And then the tax assessment went up.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So you got a discount on the house, but now you got a tax bill that's hitting you over the head, something different.
Yeah.
And then you got insurance price. I don't know if you've checked what the insurance prices are doing, but they're skyrocketing.
Yeah.
How is that? It's almost like, oh, are we setting these homeowners up for failure?
So what I'm seeking, but I also say there are at least a couple tools. One is making sure that they're applying for their homestead exemption immediately.
Gotcha.
Right. That's obviously outside of my purview in terms of how it's being appreciated quickly. I will say one of the things I would like to advocate for, and this is like a bigger movement. I don't even know how to all the way do this, just to be quite frank, is how can there be legislation to say that these homes are for affordable homes, homeowners, right? They're income eligible. They have been certified. They went through this whole process, Can they be appreciated at a different rate than market? Is that something that could potentially take place? I heard that it may have be in existence in Austin, but it's only applicable for Austin the way that they wrote that legislation. But that's something that I would love to help advocate and be a part of, because that also is something that I really just don't like the concept of.
Yeah.
But then there's also the community land trust that locks in the long-term affordability of the land, if that's the right solution for the homeowner. Are you familiar with them?
No.
Okay, not to confuse people, but there is the Houston Landbank.
Okay.
And there is the Houston Community Land Trust.
Okay.
Which basically means that the homeowner owns the structure, but they do not own the land. The land is in a trust that is partially owned by different members of their board. Some of them are residents, I believe, and different appointed members and whatnot.
Why would somebody take that deal?
Because they get appreciated significantly less than a homeowner, because since it's in a trust, they have a different deal with HCAD to where basically they're in a ground lease with the home for 99 years, as opposed to paying for the home and the structure. I mean, the land and the structure. They just pay off the home and they don't ever have to worry about the cost of the land. They only pay like a $50 or $100 fee.
So in the event that they pass away, what happens to the ownership?
So they can pass it down to their heirs.
And it'll just be until 99 years.
Yeah.
And then when 99 is up, you got to figure something out.
I mean, usually you're going to transition it, or you have a will or whatnot, right? But
gotcha.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, essentially, you don't own that land, though.
Correct. Now, you can have some level of equity, right? Because it is going to appreciate in terms of the structure, but it's only going to appreciate at a certain percentage to make sure that it's affordable for the next homeowner.
Gotcha. So let's say if I'm in a situation where I want to sell that property, how would that work?
It still has to be sold to an income eligible home buyer. So that's what I'm saying. It's a tool if it's right for you, right?
Gotcha.
Whether you're, to me, I would have done this like way back in my 20s, right? Coming out of college. That would have been a great opportunity to own a home, get enough to then upgrade to a conventional.
Gotcha.
Or later in life as a senior, right? Because they're not working, right? They just have their disability check or whatnot.
Yeah.
Or, Social Security tax,
all the things.
Yeah. So they're not seeking to go nowhere. So it kind of just depends on what's the right solution for you.
Gotcha. So, okay. So when we're looking at how to maximize this partnership, because again, we're trying to marry more developers with the land bank as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate goal is affordable housing. What other ways are you seeing ways that we can partner to get that goal accomplished?
Yeah. So part of it goes back to the environmental justice component. So we have a grant with the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, for up to $600,000, where we can do the environmental testing for builders and developers if it's within certain target areas. One of them being Fifth Ward Cashmere Gardens, or the East End, near North Side, and the Gulfton area. So that opportunity is available right now to where we can pay for the phase 1, the phase 2, or if there's any kind of reuse planning that needs to take place because it's contaminated, like what should I do with it? Then we have the consultants and we could fund that. So that's one kind of partnership angle.
And so how would that work? So if I own the land, would I have to bank it with you? So I could just petition.
You just fill out an application. You just give me the HCAD number and the address. If you can give me a little bit of history on the actual site.
Yeah.
But we take care of that.
So, and that's for land, right? Land. That's not like asbestos or anything.
It could be a structure too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that a lot. So okay, so because it's funny, but you mentioned that because I had another guy that they had to pay like a ridiculous amount of money for asbestos removal. Yeah.
Now wait. Now I will say cleanup is a whole nother story.
Y'all test.
We can test to prove that it's contaminated. Now, in order to clean it up, we have to own the site in order to do that.
See,
but that's one of the things that we're also looking into. We talked about the banking and, mission alignment, housing, whatever. But I'm also looking into, if it's contaminated, could we potentially hold it for you, clean it up for you, and give it back?
Gotcha.
Because I can't even apply for the grant dollars unless I own it.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of, private developers don't have the time to deal with a federal grant. That is a heavy lift, but we're government.
You could do that.
Right? Like one of the sites we're doing is 6 acres. We've been cleaning it up since 2019.
Wow.
But it's in the heart of near North Side, downtown views, 6 acres. Wow.
What y'all doing with that?
We're still finalizing the plans.
So that can be a potential development for an investor, essentially.
Yeah, potentially. I want to find contaminated properties.
Gotcha. Because that's something you can clean up and really offer major value.
Exactly. We already have a grant with them. We have a relationship with them. We're seeking to, once again, when you say like, what am I most proud of? That's why. First of all, who else is raising their hand saying that they're seeking that,
Matter
right?
of fact, most developers that'll just be a hard pass.
And that's why I think some of these properties are just vacant.
Absolutely.
The way that they are. And I don't know for sure. But I'm assuming so.
Yeah. You got some investors, number one. I can just tell you, because I'm speaking what I'm hearing. Investors don't want to deal with flood properties. If it's 100-year, they want to pass.
I understand.
So these properties will never get developed. If it's contamination on it, hard pass. If it's some weird type of replatting going on, like hard pass. Because the money it'll cost to get that
and the time,
hard pass. So, even if environmental issues, that ain't even. But see,
that's what makes us unique, right? Because we're government. That is a part of our public service.
Gotcha.
Is to address these hard, challenging situations.
Weird replatting. Weird, airship issues.
We can clean title.
Oh.
Look, I'm no attorney. Don't get me started.
Yeah. I ain't gonna hit you with them. But so essentially, let's say property, million different heirs, right? And they don't, the family can't even come together to even try to figure this stuff out. You know how many times I've dealt with that? Countless. Can that person donate it to the land bank? Let's say, for instance, if
I accept it.
You accept it. I'm pretty sure. But let's say, for instance, if I identify a person.
Okay.
Mary Jo has 10 billion heirs. Some of them, God forbid, have disabilities, right? So they need guardian ad litems and all of those different people to kind of advocate on their behalf, which means you can't close it because you orchestrating that is just essentially impossible for the regular person who needs to, do normal stuff on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Mary Jo got a property, great property. She can't even sell it, because she can't get all of the family members on the same page. She wants to sell it, just can't. I want to buy it because I see an opportunity here, but I can't buy it because I don't want to be, beholden to all of those tax issues. How would I be able to help Mary Jo get this property to you, but then how would it even benefit me to get her to get the property to you? How would we work something out like that?
Well, I'll say that's something, we kind of talked about, but we really haven't continued to flesh it out yet. But I'll say that going back to our original history, we own tax delinquent properties, right?
Gotcha.
Which probably had a lot of the Mary Jo situations, which is why I ended up in foreclosure and going to the auction to begin with.
So that is the normal process for Mary Jo. She'll just lose out.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So it ain't nothing we can do to help Miss Mary Jo?
Now, we have the power and authority to clean title on behalf of other entities, but we have not done that for outside of what the properties we own. We would have to create a program and some kind of parameters in order to do that.
Gotcha. So I'm trying to think about this. This is my creative mind thinking. You slow me down. Slow me down if I get too creative because I can create.
I'm about to say, I need my attorney right here.
Yeah, to make sure, the creativity don't go too far. So look, let's say, for instance, Mary Jo needs to sell this property. She can't. Can she sell it to you all? Or even better, could I give her a donation to sell it to you all? If I'm a part of you guys' program and after it's set up, I can build some affordable housing on it.
I can discuss that with legal.
Too creative?
No, I mean,
But
I like
do you
the
see
concept.
the dilemma?
Yeah, because I know that there's a lot of issues similar to that.
Yes.
I think that's potentially something that we can explore, but I really got to talk to legal about that.
I have another property.
Okay.
Right now. Literally, this is real
I'm
time.
listening.
Lady's name is, I'm going to give her a different name. I'm going to give her Mary.
Okay.
Mary owns a property in 3rd Ward right now. She wants to partner with me and develop on it. A couple of the family members are kind of iffy on how they want to move with that because it's a lot of different errors and issues with it. The natural trajectory of this particular situation is somebody stops paying the taxes, tax foreclosure, then it goes to the land bank.
Okay.
Mary loses everything. Mary don't want to lose everything.
Yeah.
She want to figure this out. We can't figure this out for Mary. Like we can't put some money in Mary's pocket before it gets to a situation where she has to lose this to taxes in order for it to make sense for y'all?
I'm not sure because I'm also asking myself, how do we close if there's title issues?
Well, she can donate it to the land bank.
Maybe.
I think if she donated that to the land bank and if you will work with some private entities to maybe help her financially to make it make sense for her, right? And then we come back and then we work together. Listen, I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
I think I like the concept because I understand that is a serious issue in our communities as well.
Because she's going to lose that forever.
I understand. And
her family is never going to be able to take advantage of that legacy loss.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I know.
And so
I have the example from my family in 3rd Ward that my great grandfather owned, and because there was 14 heirs on the property, it ended up going to foreclosure right there on Alabama and Emancipation.
Wow.
I wanted that house. Wow. I'm the only one here.
Alabama and Emancipation? Ooh.
Yeah.
That's ugly.
I know, but it's transitional.
Yeah,
it's transitional, but but that's where my grandfather was born. I want that house.
But it's that the values over there are crazy right now.
Yeah,
and y'all lost it to taxes.
Yeah, lost it to taxes.
And I'm pretty sure it was somebody like me on the phone with him trying to figure out a solution to that.
Probably
somebody was having that phone conversation.
Yeah, it's before my time.
So. Listen, it sounds like you all are trying to, I guess, partner with developers, partner with homeowners, partner with all of these different people.
Mm-hmm.
You have a natural process in place now.
Yeah.
You just heard some of the things that I'm seeing in real time in the real world.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? And you being the new leader in this space, do you feel like these could have solutions that the public and private sector could figure out?
No, absolutely. Like, I'll keep saying it. I want to break down as many barriers as I can.
Okay.
Now, to me, that also means if it's a partner that I need to bring in, because maybe that isn't our sweet spot. Maybe we need to partner with someone at, for example, the TSU legal clinic.
Yeah.
I may not be saying that correctly, but, and we may need to bring in more capacity because we don't have a legal department. We have a lawyer. We have 3 external legal counsel as well. So maybe there is a way we can incorporate that. I'm definitely not close to it. Just definitely need to strategize on when and what and how to make sure that when we are launching something like that, that we're able to actually to successfully execute.
Love it. Love it. So what's next for Krista? What's next outside of the environmental? Because you said you got a couple, but you're going to give us one. I want to know about these others. Let's talk about it.
Well, that's been like my main focus because that's our largest contiguous property. That's our first property that we've ever master planned or begin the process to master plan. I want to
apply just for that property. I need 6 acres in the middle of the city. I need that.
That is not available yet.
I'm sure.
But the first step is the procurement, which is open right now.
It's open right now.
It's open.
When does that close?
It closes August 18th at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
So if I'm 501, I'm out of there.
As ineligible.
It's ineligible. So August, we need to apply. Before August, we need to apply.
Yes, and you better look at it now because it's not a quick little checkbox application.
Gotcha. So it's a dissertation.
It's not a dissertation, but there are components on there that you should be aware of to make sure that you're presenting a complete and comprehensive application.
Okay, so what does that look like?
So I can't get too much in the details of the application because it is an open procurement. I have to be sure that I'm presenting things open, for everyone, right? But it is available on the website, HoustonLandbank.org. If you go to the resources tab, there's a procurement link that is in like the middle of the tab and you'll see it there. Okay. Also on Monday, I believe at 2, we're having a virtual builders forum to go over it more in depth.
Tell me this, who are y'all looking for specifically? What is y'all's ideal avatar for this?
I can't answer that. You have to look at the procurement.
Okay. Well, let me phrase it better than this. Okay. So if I'm a small time developer, I've built 2 houses, 3 houses in my career. Do you see me as being a person who will be able to gain the most opportunities in that space?
So what I will say is that this is not a competitive application, right? Okay. We're not going to limit how many builders have only built 2 homes as opposed to 20 homes. Okay. We just want to know who is qualified to meet the categories that are applicable in the opportunity.
Gotcha. I need to be able to perform.
And if all 100 people are qualified according to the parameters, then all 100 could be approved to build on the properties once we open that second piece.
Gotcha. So it's not, so you guys, from a competitive standpoint, it's not based on experience, it's more based on capacity, is what you're saying?
It's several components that we look at in the application that I recommend you review because it speaks to different.
All of those different things.
Yeah.
And so when I'm applying, I'm looking at where I feel I can maximize the opportunity.
Yes. And then I'd say review the different categories. And if you have a specific question about one or the other, or maybe potentially both, then I would ask directly to the staff either on Monday or you can write an email I believe it's procurements at houstonlandbank.org for more specific clarifications. But there's a deadline on when you can submit questions.
Oh, when is that?
I don't remember the deadline right now, off the top of my head, to be honest.
But it's a cutoff.
Yeah, because it's basically a quiet period, right? Because we're supposed to make sure that we're presenting everything open and
Fair.
honest. Yeah, mm-hmm.
I like it. And okay, well that's fine. And then whenever all of these bigger opportunities come up, you'll just y'all will choose. The board will choose who they want to award these opportunities to.
So if there's a special site that we're looking for a certain type of builder, that's going to be a whole nother application, most likely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the procurement is me getting into the party.
Yes. So there's kind of two different terms that are governmental that I'll break down. One is called a request for qualifications.
Okay.
Which is saying we are requesting any and all people who are qualified to meet these parameters,
Gotcha.
right? Whether we're looking for architects, we're looking for people to help us with our community engagement, we're looking for surveyors, right? Who is qualified to meet these parameters?
Gotcha.
A request for proposal is saying that this is an actual project, a site, a need, and we need you to propose a solution to us.
Gotcha. So I'm
this
proposing
that's open is a request for qualifications. We want to know who's qualified.
Gotcha.
But if there's a site that we're like, I don't really know who's the best fit for this, then we would launch a request for proposal.
Gotcha. So essentially, because I take everything back to the club for whatever reason. I've been talking about VIP lines, all the different things. So essentially, so the procurement is me actually getting in the door, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't walk past and got my little search from the bouncer. He didn't tap me out and make sure I ain't got no weapons or anything like that of mass destruction.
You're free before 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, but the request for proposal is like me getting my drink.
I guess. I don't know if I would call it the request for proposal you're getting your drink.
Okay.
But, I got to think of an analogy that relates to the club on that one. Maybe it's we say we looking for the hookah man.
Yeah, the hookah man. Yeah, we looking for the hookah man. So essentially, so it's two parts. So we go in, we get in, and then we get the opportunities, and then we try to apply for the opportunities. Mm-hmm. If we get the opportunities, what is that next phase like? In terms of how are you guys judging whether or not I'm gonna get that opportunity or not?
I can't speak on that yet because we haven't really done many requests for proposals because remember, this is the first time we've actually done master developing in this way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so,
but if we did, then, we would write out what the parameters are that we're looking for, how we're scoring it. Like all that has to be public. We can't just say, give us a proposal and we're going to have this secret scoring matrix. Like we have to put that in there. That's the transparency of that.
Was the East River project, was that in partnership with the Landbank?
I wish. I wish.
So that was just kind of their own.
Yeah, that's Midway. Right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now because I know that you guys do have land now that's available. And the first step is the procurement phase. And then once people are in there, then they'll see what kind of opportunities you guys have, and then they can see how they can work with you.
Yeah, we will tell you what you need to submit. Right.
Okay.
That's the part that we're re-reviewing now internally, but of course we would transparently share that to the people who are in the program.
So timeline from procurement to me actually having some sticks in the air, what do you anticipate that timeline looking like for the average investor who just maybe picking up a 10,000 square foot lot here and wanting to do a couple times or whatever they want to do? Yeah. What is that timeline you're estimating?
So we're hoping to execute as quickly as possible because we want to get the sticks in the air. Mm-hmm. I believe we're launching the round of lot sales in the fall. So
okay.
The hope is to shortly after we find the people. Then we're like, and here's the land and here's what you need. And then, of course, giving you a certain period of time to respond to the opportunity.
And then in terms of lending, have y'all had any issues with the lender saying because this person doesn't own the land or because you guys are giving a discount? How's that?
I don't believe that
is an issue.
No.
Okay.
That I'm aware of.
Okay. So the banks are pretty friendly with you guys' process.
They haven't given me no issue.
Gotcha.
Now y'all cool. That's between y'all.
Y'all in the bank. Okay.
That's y'all friend.
Yeah. So okay. Well, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. So tell me this. I first of all, I gotta say thank you.
Oh yeah.
This is amazing. How can anybody reach out to you if they want to know more about you and what you do?
I mean, you can follow me on social media.
Yeah.
Definitely LinkedIn is where I'm very active in terms of the different events that we host. Just different places that I'm traveling, people I'm meeting, different projects that I'm
hear
learning.
A lot about LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is where it's at. I see it as like my coach kind of broke it down as like my professional like digital CV. Like I kind of all my social media is kind of different content, but it's the same kind of messaging. It kind of just depends. But that's kind of more of like my journal and in terms of like blog posts and stuff like that. So definitely I'm very active on LinkedIn when it comes to opportunities there. But I'm also on Instagram as well. So my name right now is Krista_connects. I'm actually changing it to my name.
Oh.
It's gonna be changed. Just give me a moment.
You put it together. Gotcha.
Give me a moment.
I love it. And so outside of that, what's next for you?
I just continue to allow God to lead my steps, you know? Like, I'm not going to say I had this whole roadmap laid out. I'm going to be an architect and then I'm going to go work for the mayor's office and then I'm going to, no.
Yeah, it just wherever it takes you.
Yeah, my prayer's always been for God to order my steps and to expand my territory.
Wow. And tell me this, have you ever had any aspirations to being in the development space and building affordable houses yourself?
I think at one point, maybe later.
Maybe later.
I mean, definitely not right now. I don't have the capacity, and it is also a conflict of interest.
That's
I cannot, and it's just not morally right.
Yeah. I got you. Well, cool deal. Well, I just want to say thank you so much.
Yeah.
And giving us that game. Listen, if you haven't already, make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. We want to hear from you. What are your questions? You know what I mean? Maybe I can answer some of those questions. And if I can't answer them, maybe I can hit up Krista and she can answer them. I don't know. You know what I mean? So definitely leave your comment, rate, subscribe. And it was a blessing. Any last words you want to say to the people?
I'll just say I'll just continue to grow, continue to share my story of who I am as the person and the professional. I think it's very important and it's not something I take lightly to lead in this capacity as the youngest person to lead one in the country.
Wow.
Right? Like I really believe that, you know, just this honor and privilege is something that I'm seeking to share amongst everybody. So I'm hoping that someone was able to gather something and I'll continue to share proactively.
I love it. It's amazing. Well, listen, thank y'all. Y'all have just enjoyed another episode of the No Stingy Energy Podcast, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Make sure you share it out. Peace.